Hey there, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking something that honestly affects millions of people but is still kind of surrounded by this awkward silence and a ton of misconceptions. We're going to completely demystify colon cancer. We'll break down the actual biological mechanics of it, uncover the hidden risks, and, most importantly, talk about some highly effective preventative measures. Think of this as your personal roadmap to understanding exactly how your body works and how you can actively protect it. But before we really get into the weeds, I want to establish a vital fact that should give you a massive amount of hope. If it's discovered early, like at stage 0 or stage 1, the 5-year survival rate for colon cancer actually exceeds 90%. Seriously, 90%. That means with the right knowledge and timely action, this is a highly treatable disease. The power literally lies in understanding it and catching it early.
Okay, so here is our roadmap for today. 1. Colon anatomy and current reality. 2. 4 key initial symptoms. 3. 5 major risk factors. 4. The crucial screening test. And 5. 2 habits for prevention.
Section 1. Colon anatomy and current reality, the foundation of understanding.
So, the current reality is pretty stark. The source data shows colon cancer is a massive, highly prevalent threat. In fact, it is the most common cancer in Japan overall. And get this, it's the leading cause of cancer-related deaths for women. And those numbers, they've just been steadily creeping up. Why is this happening? Well, a major driving force is the shift toward westernized diets. The rise of all those convenient, heavily processed modern foods we eat today. But to really grasp how our food impacts us, we've got to look at the colon itself.
Think of your colon as a tube that's about 1.5 to 2 meters long. Its main gig? Absorbing water. When digested food first enters the colon, the stool is super soft, almost liquid, really. But as it travels, the colon acts like a powerful sponge, absorbing up to 6 liters of water a single day. So by the time it reaches the end, right near the rectum, that stool has progressively hardened. Keeping that transition in mind, from soft to hard, is absolutely crucial for understanding the symptoms we're about to jump into.
Section 2. 4 key initial symptoms. Understanding the mechanics.
Now, medical guidelines are super clear that there aren't really any true early symptoms for colon cancer. But as a tumor grows, 4 primary physical indicators do start to show up: thinning stool, chronic constipation, unexplained anemia, and blood in the stool. And these aren't just random things happening to your body. They're all tied directly to the anatomical logic we literally just talked about. Let's break them down. You might be wondering, why on earth does stools suddenly become thin? Like, how exactly does a tumor cause your stool to change its shape that drastically? It all circles back to that water absorption. Because stool is really soft in the early parts of the colon, if a tumor starts growing there, the soft stool just kind of slides right past it without changing shape at all. But if a tumor grows in the later stages of the colon, where the stool is already hard, the tumor starts narrowing that passageway, so that hard stool gets literally squeezed thin as it forces its way past the blockage. Basically, consistently thin stool is a giant mechanical warning sign from your lower colon. And it builds from there, right? Constipation kicks in because the growing tumor physically restricts your bowel movements, and the inflammation that causes just slows down your whole gut. Unexplained anemia is also fascinating and super dangerous. Cancers actually build their own new fragile blood vessels to feed themselves. As stool passes by, it rubs against these fragile vessels, causing a slow, continuous, totally invisible bleed. The source material actually shares a wild story of a 70-year-old guy who just felt constantly fatigued and breathless. His face was pale. They ran a blood test, found severely low hemoglobin, and that ultimately led straight to a colon cancer diagnosis. And finally, blood in the stool. It can be bright red if the tumor is near the exit, but shockingly, it can also be pitch black. If the bleeding happens way higher up in the colon, the blood oxidizes as it travels down, literally turning black by the time it exits.
Section 3. 5 major risk factors. What increases your odds?
The data strongly links these 5 lifestyle factors to a way higher risk of developing colon cancer: red and processed meat, lack of exercise, obesity, excessive alcohol, and smoking. Now, smoking and heavy drinking are pretty well-known cancer risks across the board. But let's take a closer look at a couple of the more surprising dietary and physical factors. Take processed meats like sausages or bacon. Eating just 50 grams a day can significantly bump up your risk. To put that into perspective, a typical restaurant hamburger patty is usually around 150 grams, so 50 grams is tiny. Why is it so dangerous? Well, processed meats are packed with high levels of salt and chemical preservatives, like nitrites, which trigger chronic inflammation in your gut. It basically sets the perfect stage for cancer cells to develop. Next up is the number 25. This is referring to your BMI, or body mass index. Hitting a BMI of 25 or higher is the dangerous threshold where obesity becomes a major factor. The data points out that obesity actually makes your body resistant to insulin. And when your insulin isn't working properly, it can literally promote the growth of cancer cells. It's this nasty, compounding biological effect.
Section 4. The crucial screening test. Taking empowered action.
Look, if you take away absolutely nothing else today, please let it be this. As we establish with how the colon works mechanically, waiting for physical symptoms like anemia, constipation, or noticeably thin stool to show up, it means the cancer has already grown pretty significantly. Relying on symptoms is just a reactive strategy, not a proactive one. And waiting for symptoms means it's often too late.
The difference in how you detect it is just mind-blowing. If you wait until you actually feel symptoms to get checked out, the chance of catching the cancer at stage 1 is a measly 17%. But if you discover it through a routine fecal occult blood test, you catch it at stage 1 half the time, a full 50%. That contrast is absolutely life-saving.
So what exactly is this test? The Fecal Occult Blood Test, or FOBT, is this incredibly simple, non-invasive 2-day stool sample test that you just do at home. It detects microscopic, completely hidden blood in your stool, the exact kind of blood from those fragile cancer vessels we talked about earlier. It is proven to lower your colon cancer mortality risk by 20%. In places like Japan, the government actually funds this for citizens over 40, but crazily enough, only 40% of eligible people bother to take it.
A huge reason for that low turnout is a really dangerous myth. People get a positive result and just brush it off, thinking, oh, whatever, it's just my hemorrhoids. But the data firmly shatters that idea. Only 5% of positive tests are actually caused by hemorrhoids. If you get a positive result, you absolutely have to follow up with a colonoscopy. Not only can it find early cancer, but it can also spot precancerous polyps, which are called adenomas. And the best part? Removing those polyps prevents the cancer from ever forming in the first place.
Section 5. 2 habits for prevention. Safeguarding your future.
Okay, the really great news here is that you don't need some massive, stressful lifestyle overhaul. The data points to 2 highly effective, totally manageable things you can do to reduce your baseline risk: eating insoluble fiber and engaging in moderate exercise.
Here's how they do their magic. Insoluble fiber, which you find in foods like mushrooms, bamboo shoots, and spinach, it doesn't dissolve in water. Instead, it acts like a literal physical broom, sweeping through your colon, speeding up transit time, and completely relieving constipation. That sweeping action prevents cancer-causing agents from just hanging out and lingering against your colon walls. On the flip side, moderate exercise, like say a brisk walk or a jog where you can still hold a conversation but definitely couldn't sing a song, that lowers your body weight. And that directly cuts down on the cancer-promoting insulin resistance we talked about. Seriously, 2 simple habits, incredible biological benefits.
So we started off by talking about a 90% survival rate when colon cancer is caught early. We've looked at how it grows, what feeds it, and the dead simple screening test that can stop it right in its tracks. The science is incredibly clear, and the tools are right there at your disposal. The power is entirely in your hands. So I'll leave you with this final thought. What is one small change you're going to make today to protect your future?